Good evening, everybody, and welcome to our 12 days of Christmas. So for the first 12 days of the month of December, we have been doing a demonstration class every evening on decorating, whether it be door wreaths, remembrance wreaths, and just showing you something a little bit different. And tonight I have something again completely different, and I'm working away. I'll explain all this now in a few minutes what I'm actually doing. But before we get started, what I need to know is who's actually watching me tonight, okay? And where are you watching in from? So we depend on interaction on these videos. So if you're not interacting with these videos, what happens is Facebook doesn't allow them to be kind of shown out to anyone. And I want as many people to watch these videos as possible. So I really depend on you interacting, whether it's a smiley face, whether it's say good morning, whether it's a hands up, a thumbs up, a love heart, a smiley face, or even you can say feck off, Janette, it doesn't matter. But say something in the comments, okay, to kind of like get everything rolling. I always say if you could introduce yourself, like let me know what's your name and where are you watching in from. And I always like to know what's the weather like around the country or around the world. Again, like the last couple of evenings, we had people from Australia, people from all parts of America, England, Scotland and Wales. Sure, listen, you're part of the family at this stage. All parts of Ireland. And again, we've had Mauritius, we've had South Africa, we've had all parts of the world dropping in, and it's been absolutely great. Every evening we're doing something completely different, you know, that way. And tonight what I'm going to try and include into my door wreath is some dried flowers. So these are some dried wheats, and they're dyed as well. So they actually, I bought them in this colour. And what I'm doing is I'm taking a few of the heads, about 5 or 6 of the heads, and getting them all roughly the same length. And you're probably watching there and saying, God, that was more than 5 or 6. I'm just grabbing a few of them and then cutting off the ends, and then using 20 gauge wires, I'm making a hairpin bend, wrapping it around the end of the bunches just to catch them together. Now these can be any dried flowers. Like if you're watching this at home and you think, God, I have loads of dried flowers, or maybe you have dried flowers that are starting to look a little bit tired looking. Do you know that way? You're sick of looking at them on the coffee table or on the whole table arrangement. So maybe you could kind of like recycle them up. We're all about recycling. You know, recycle them up, a little bit of a revamp, and use them up in your door wreath, okay? And then get brand new ones for next year, you know, the way for that whole table or whatever. Dried flowers are quite cheap, and O'Neill's Flowers up in Carlingford, County Louth, they would have a good selection of them, but also Evergreen Silk Plants in RD, County Louth. On his online site, you'll get lots and lots of dried flowers and silk flowers, and I'm going to use some silks in with this as well. Now people might say to me, dried flowers in a fresh wreath? Yes, who said you can't do it? And then people will say to me, well, what will happen when they get wet? Well, you listen, girls and boys, we're into the 12 days of Christmas, okay? Christmas is on the 25th of the month, and Little Christmas Day is on the 6th of January. We're not looking for this wreath to last till Patrick's weekend or Easter. And the reason is, between now and then, I will have lots of Patrick's Day door wreaths done with you, and Easter, and spring, and early summer, and late winter, and so on. So we're not looking for it to last like that length of time. And yes, these dried flowers, if you place them on a grave, they will get wet, they will get a little bit soggy. But you listen, once we get them gale force winds tomorrow, or the next day, they'll all dry out. And then it'll be raining the next day, and yes, they'll get wet again, and eventually they'll probably kind of go soft and soggy and kind of go a blacky colour. But at that stage, you should be back up to the grave, getting it, and you know, taking off any decorations that can be recycled and thrown any of the foliage into the compost bin. Do you know that way? So like think kind of a little bit more logically about it, where rather than saying, oh, it's going to be forever and ever. No, it's not. This is a Christmas wreath. So as you can see there, for anybody joining, all I'm doing is I'm just pulling out all the heads. There's all the rubbish. Getting them all roughly the same length, pinching them together, cutting off the ends. There is a magic bin on the floor there underneath me, in case you're wondering that what happens to all them flowers, all them stems that she cuts off. They all just land in the magic bin. And then I'm getting my 20 gauge wire, hooking it around the end, wrapping it around. And now then, that bunch I had, I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I got 11 little bunches of dried out of that bunch of dried flowers that I brought in. And you've seen me do that in real time. Now these roses, these are fabulous roses, and these are from Evergreen Silk Plants, okay, and they're in RD County Louth. Now they're on quite a stiff stem, which I've just found out now when I went to cut them. So normally what I do is I gnaw at it, and you can see there, it just broke real easy. And every time that happens, people are always fascinated. So just to show you, I'm with the scissors there, and cutting and cutting and cutting, and I'm putting a bit of effort into that, and nothing is happening. It's not cutting through the wire at all. And then you come along, you do that, and it just breaks. That's the great thing about, that's the trick with artificial flowers with cutting them. Now, even though them stems are gone into the magic bin, I'm going to take them back out afterwards and reuse that foliage in one of my other designs, you know, that way, like nothing goes to waste. And again, a little bit of a snap there. There's our three kind of like peony roses, and again, these could be hydrangeas, whatever. I love the colour of them, and I just thought it picked up the colour of the dried flower. So what I'm now going to do to these three roses, I'm making a hook with the 20 gauge wire, wrapping it around the end of the stem. So again, make a little hook, rest it on the stem, and then wrap the long wire around the short stem and around the stem of the actual flower, and that will secure them. Now these will, unless we get loads of sun, and anybody in Ireland, we don't get much sun in Ireland, these roses will be absolutely fine. So when you're back up after Christmas and you're revamping up the wreath, okay, I would recommend that you pull out these three roses and you reuse them again next year, next autumn, whatever it might be. Obviously, if it's very, very sunny, the colours will fade a little bit. There is a kind of like a suntan lotion spray. So there is a spray that you can get that you can spray on artificial flowers, and it stops them fading out in the weathers and so on. But as I said, this is a short-term wreath. It just has to do for the Christmas period. So what I've done onto my pre-made base, and these bases came from Irish Green Guys, and they're down in Kerry. So onto this base, I've just divided up the three roses, as you can see, as best I can. And the wires were inserted down into the base and then stuck up, back up into the base with that U-bend. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to randomly add the little bunches of dried flowers in and out between what I've done. Now, while I'm doing this, I just want to explain a little bit about courses that we do here at the school. And one of the courses that we do would be our artificial flower arranging course. And it's a great one to talk about, seeing that I'm working with artificial flowers here today. So people think when you're working with fresh flowers that it's going to be exactly the same when you go to work with artificial. Now, for what I've done there, 3 artificial flowers, you get away with murder. But when you go to do professional or commercial flower arranging skills, there is, you know, a lot more involved than just like sticking them in. So we have a particular special course, okay, that specialises in just artificial or faux flowers. Do you call them faux flowers? A little bit of dried silk flowers, artificial flowers, whatever name you want to put on them. And it starts like every couple of months, you know what I mean, it starts, and it's a 4-week online program, and we are supplying a free kit, okay? So there is a little kit that you can get, and it'll include some of the items that you will need for, you know, making artificial arrangements at home. Just let you see what I've done so far. Can you see the difference the little bunches of dried flowers are making to that base there with the artificial flowers? So if anybody is watching there and you're unsure and you're saying, I don't know whether I want to learn artificial flowers. Is it like what my granny had years ago, big plastic, gaudy, horrible stuff? No, it's not like that anymore. But I completely understand. You're probably a bit skeptical about doing an artificial flower arranging course. So what we have is a free little sample, like a little taster course or a little taster class, okay? And if you drop me an email, I'm just using up these last 2 to spares. If you drop me an email, info@kaysflowerschool.com, and put in the subject bar that you're looking for the free silk class, I get that link back onto you. It's an online course. You can watch it at any time that you wish, do you know that way? And as I said, if you do decide to book onto the proper full course, I will send you out a free introduction kit that will include some of the materials that you'll need. I'll do a video one of the nights of what's included in the kit so that you'll see what you're actually getting. So again, just to give you an idea, that's what it's looking like so far with the bunch of dried flowers, and again, the 3 artificial roses going through it. Now I'm just going to make a little hook there now before I go any further for actually hanging it up. And again, you can hang this on your door if you want. It's not finished yet, by the way. But also, I'm going to show you when it's finished how I can actually make it into a luxury wreath for a grave. And I know I've talked about this other days, you know, that way people often, and it drives me mad, you know, that way people think that a wreath for a grave has to be mean looking, skimpy looking, as we say in Dublin, scabby looking, you know, that way. Like, to put hardly any decorations into it. Should a poor person that died loved Christmas as well, give them a bit of bling, give them a few lights, give them a little bit of a Christmas cheer, whatever, they will definitely appreciate it. So I'm just putting a little hanger on this that could be used for going on a door. Now the only thing is, if it was going on a door, I probably would leave them strings long that the person can shorten them themselves, you know, that way. But if it's going on a grave, I normally like to make like a short little handle there at the back, just to make it easier for transporting. You know yourself, the graves in Dublin anyway, you park about 3 miles away in the car park, and then you have to walk in the lashings of rain and the puddles to the actual grave to place the wreath. So it just makes it handy if you have a little handle there to actually carry it with. What I'm now going to do is I'm going to add some pine cones in and out through my dried flowers and my silk flowers. So all of these pine cones have been wired already, and they're all wired on 20 gauge wires. You do need 20 gauge wires when you're making wreaths, okay? Whether it's door wreaths or grave wreaths, you need the 20 gauge. Because even as it is, you'll often see me when I go to stick material in, that I hit a branch and the wire buckles or bends, or I can't actually get it in. Now, if you use a 22 gauge, which is a much lighter wire, you are going to have some serious problems. When I would have been taught how to do Christmas wreaths years ago, a long time ago, I was actually trained on 19 gauge wires. And 19 gauge wires are double the thickness of a 20 gauge wire. And I have to say, it was a doddle to make the wreath because the wire was so strong, it just slid through the spruce there. Nothing got in its way, nothing stopped it. You know, that way it made life really easy. But I've all the preparation work done here this evening, besides wiring up the dried there in front of you. But when you're preparing and you're wiring up all your cones and you're wiring up your lemon slices and your whole oranges and your cinnamon sticks and so on, I'm telling you, like, to wire them up all on 19 gauge wires, your hands will be absolutely killing you. I seen Rachel over in the UK, the Botanical Business Hub, and she had a photograph up there the other day of her poor fingers, and they were absolutely in bits from wiring. So I'm presuming that she's either using 19 gauge wires, or the poor girl has very soft hands, one or the other. Now, all of our nights, all of our 12 days of Christmas, we've been having giveaways every evening. And tonight will be no different. So our giveaway this evening is a free link, okay, to a mini Christmas online program where you will learn 6 or 7 different designs of Christmas arrangements that can be used for decorating your home or given as a present. So all you have to do is comment underneath. I'll just let you see how this is coming together, and I'm not finished, okay? I'm now going to add some lotus heads or lotus pods going in and out through it. But to enter the competition, all you have to do is comment underneath and let me know what is the name of Santa's reindeer, okay? Any of the reindeers at all, right? So name one of Santa's reindeers in the comments there below and let me know, and we will randomly pick one of your names as a winner later on. Another way of winning a prize is let me know that you have shared our video. We're always asking people to share the videos. We depend on the interaction, and like, the thing is, it's so easy to share a video. Just up there, right hand side, just above your finger, little button says share, click it, and it immediately goes to your own page. And by sharing the video, if you want to look back on any of the classes that I've done over the 12 days of Christmas, you have them there. You'll even have them there next year, you know, that way to look back on. So it's always a good idea to share the video. But let me know that you have shared, and again, I'll randomly pick a name at the end of this class and I'll comment underneath your name to let you know that you've actually won. And the third way of winning a prize is all you have to do is say, pick me, pick me, pick me. So write that in the comments. You can say pick me as many times as you wish. And again, later on, I'll go through the names and I'll pick somebody's name again, one of our lucky winners. So there's 3 prizes and you have 3 different ways of winning the prize. Now I'm not finished, but again, just to let you see how this is actually coming together. The next thing I want to do is add in our ribbon with our loving Christmas remembrance. So just get my hands on one there now for a second. Here we go. The studio's moved everything on me. So these are the ribbons. Now you can buy that white ribbon in O'Neill's Flowers. And it doesn't come with the red ribbon on it, okay? So just a white ribbon with the red writing, and it says Loving Christmas Remembrance. I just kind of find on its own, it's a bit miserable looking. So I like to put it on this kind of like satin ribbon that I have, but you could just use the normal florist ribbon, the paper ribbon if you wish. And I just have that stapled. There's a stapler here and a stapler here just to hold that in place. So what I'm going to do is at the edge of the ribbon, I'm making tiny little pleats, tiny little squeezes and gathers. I'm squeezing in the ribbon there nice and tight, and I'm now going to place a hook of a wire, what we call a hairpin bend, and I'm wrapping the wire around there real tight, and I'm kind of opening it up slightly, and then I'm going to do exactly the same on the other end. So I'm gathering in the ribbon nice and tight. I'm making a little hook, a hairpin bend, making a little hook, resting it on the edge of the ribbon, wrapping around there nice and tight, and again there is our ribbon wired on either end. Now at the moment the handle is the top, so I need to make sure that I have the writing going across the right way. So here we go. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to stick the wire down into one side of the wreath, and kind of bringing down the edge of the ribbon so it's hidden. And the wire that has come through the other end, I'm making that little hook and sticking it back up into the base to hold. And then I'm going to do exactly the same thing on the other side. So again, when you're doing the ribbon, like I see, now there's nothing wrong, but I've seen people just use the white ribbon on their own. And it's quite short and it's quite skimpy. But by adding that extra bit of red in behind it, but also makes it look a lot more luxurious looking. I don't know, I think so anyway. It's up to yourself. Now, I'm not finished. I now want to add some cinnamon sticks, okay? So I have some cinnamon sticks here, and what I'm just going to do is just wrap the wire around the spruce, okay? Just to hold it in place. So just get your cinnamon stick, and again, I've just a little bit of wire coming out either end, and just randomly here and there, just wrap the wire around the spruce to hold it in place. Again, there's another one there. You can put as many onto them as you want. Again, I just kind of like this kind of like natural rustic look. But yeah, I feel like the artificial flowers and the dried flowers is kind of giving it that luxury feel. Now, I want to put a few more in, but just to show you, there's a couple of cinnamon sticks that I put in so far. Do you see the difference that it has made? But also the scent. And that's the thing, you know what I mean? Like when people are purchasing something like this and they say, oh my God, the smell of it, it's absolutely beautiful. Now, I know some of you, and I've said this other nights when I'm doing remembrance wreaths, but some people have said it in the comments, oh, that's too nice to put on a grave. Such a thing to say. Like, who says a wreath for a grave has to be mean looking? I always feel, I know myself, like any of the graves that I visit, and I have a good few of them to visit, I always like to do nice luxury wreaths. The same way as if I was buying them a Christmas present, that way I mightn't spend the same amount of money, you know what I mean, but I'd like to buy them something decent. So what you could do, I'm putting a few lemon slices through this now as well, is if you want to, you could take the ribbon off that I brought across it with the Loving Christmas Remembrance, okay? And you could use this wreath on your door, which would be absolutely gorgeous. It would make a fabulous door wreath. Like, there's nothing to say this can't be a door wreath. But then what you could do is whatever day you decide that you're going to visit a grave, whether it be Christmas Day, Christmas evening, Stephen's Day, Christmas morning, whenever you decide that you want to go and visit a grave, is actually take the wreath off your door, add the In Loving Remembrance ribbon across it, that way, which would be easy because you're just sticking the wires through it. And again, you could bring it up to the grave, and at that stage, it wouldn't matter that's missing off your door. You've had the fun and the pleasure of it being on your door, but also the grave or the person's grave who you place it on, it's kind of like that you've included them is in part of your Christmas celebrations. So I'm just adding a few of our little orange slices. I just want one more here and there, just to give me another little bit of texture. And again, as a door wreath, this is just going to be absolutely amazing, just to show you so far what it's looking like. We just kind of like straighten that out there. And the last thing I'm going to do, as you can see, I didn't put a bow on this wreath, okay? And I have, like on lots of my other remembrance wreaths, I have put bows on. But this one I didn't, because I just want to do something a little bit different. Just moving that bunch of dried there out of the way. So this is just a narrow velvet ribbon, kind of like a velour or a flocked ribbon, okay? And I'm just going to get 2 long pieces. As I said, I'm kind of doing this a little bit luxury looking. So I'm just getting my 2 pieces of velour and just kind of like, you know, gathering the 2 of them together, kind of on an angle. I just have that squashed together there. And there's my 2 pieces coming down. I'm just ironing them with my finger. I'm going to squeeze in the top here where they're kind of folded together. I'm making that little hairpin bend and I'm wrapping the wire around it. And up here where the hanger is, I'm going to stick in the wire kind of in the top area, like as in 12 o'clock. So stick the wire, go on, go down, go down, go down. Getting the usual, I'm hitting the branch. Stick the wire down into the base. The wire that came through, I'm hooking it across and sticking it back up into the base to secure. And then I'm just going to allow the 2 ribbons to come down. Now you can bring it under the remembrance ribbon if you want, or again, you can have it over it, which I think I'm going to do. I think I'm going to leave it over it. I'm just going to fancy off the ends of them there just to make them a little bit nicer looking, that little dovetail cut. And again, I'm just going to hold this up now just so that you can see the effect of it. So now a fabulous luxury remembrance wreath for a grave for somebody who you love or that you cared for. Wouldn't they really appreciate that? Now remember, join me tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. for our top tips for Christmas. So every morning at 7 a.m. I have top tips in both theory and techniques. Join me at 7 p.m. tomorrow evening for another free class on decorating a completely different type of door wreath, or again, it could be a remembrance wreath. Comment underneath if you want to win one of our prizes. We'll go through all the comments later on. You have 3 different ways of winning a prize. You can just say pick me. I would really appreciate if you shared our video and let me know in the comments that you have shared it. Say share and you're in with a chance to win one of our prizes. And our third way of winning is name one of Santa's reindeers. Any of the reindeers at all, put it in the comments. Now remember back at the very beginning, we talked about artificial flowers and silk flowers. And I did say to you, we do have an artificial flower arranging course starting after Christmas, and there is a free kit included that we will send out to you. But in the meantime, if you would like to just get a free sample, like a little taster online course, just to see what it's like to do artificial flower arranging, drop me an email, info@caseflowerschool.com, and I'll get it sent out to you. Very happy Christmas to everyone. Talk to you soon.